and welcome, welcome, welcome. This is Coach Tanya, and this is the Trauma Recovery Room. Today is a good day. Oh my God, I have an amazing show for you today, which is called Stop Being Copeless. Change is good, practicing self compassion. So, before I get started, of course, I love to do my background about myself and how I started the recovery room. So, as a child, I grew up with an emotionally traumatic household where I was abandoned emotionally. Physically, my needs weren't met as well as they should have been. Parents older, not so much into raising the child. And I talk about that in my book, My Secret Life, but more so having the child. So I was totally neglected in many areas. My emotional needs were not met. When I was 12 years old, my father called me the dumbest child in the world. Uh, that sent me on a whirlwind for the next 30 plus years trying to prove right or wrong or just discover who I am. And along that journey, I had many pitfalls. I was in toxic relationship after toxic relationship. I was lost and confused. I didn't know me. So, in the process of my last toxic relationship, which is a marriage that I just recently left a few months ago, in the process of going through that marriage and knowing that that abuse, that narcissism, and me having no boundaries and not loving myself because of the things that I experienced in my childhood, going through that process allowed me to discover who I was. And in the process of discovering who I was, I discovered the trauma recovery room. So the trauma recovery room is definitely a place where I feel that people going through traumatic experiences from childhood and wanting to heal from that, I offer the things that I couldn't find along my journey. So I offer you compassion and understanding, as well as me being a narcissistic abuse survivor. I am a narcissistic abuse recovery coach. I also help those who recover from emotional trauma on other levels from their childhood, not just a current relationship. I'm a life coach, a spiritual life coach, intuitive healer, as well as a mindset and self discovery coach. So, a part of the mindset and the self discovery coach is what I'm going to sort of kind of talk about today, where we talk about being copeless and what is copeless and what that is. I don't know if you've ever heard that before. I think I made it up, but we're going to run with it. So, what copeless is and how you can deal with it, and then give you some ways on how you can reach out to me, and then I can help you identify what's going on, dig deeper into whatever we find out after today, dig deeper into that, and then help you to come up with a step-by-step strategy to manifest whatever it is. I'll give you a blueprint on what it is that needs to be done so you can take steps in order and manifest whatever it is that you want. So that's pretty much who I am. That's pretty much what I do and why I do it. So we're going to go ahead and definitely get started on it. Stop being copeless. So what is coping? Coping is the way that you respond to problems. It's the way you solve problems. So those things that happen to you in your life, and we're going to talk about pretty much loss today, coping with loss, things that you lose, or things that you may have thought were losses, but were really benefits. And we'll talk about that later. But coping is how you handle challenges that come to you, how you face them, if you face them, if you ignore them, how what do you do when things are challenging you, and what is your response to them? So we're going to break that down today. And along with that, we're going to understand that change is good and learning ways to have self compassion with yourself, because many times we go through losses, we tend to blame ourselves, we tend to internalize it. And sometimes it could be you that you were the reason that you suffered that loss. It could have been through disobedience or just ignoring ordinances that you should not be ignoring, or doing, being lazy, or not doing what you're supposed to be. So it could have been your fault, but regardless to the point, if you learn that what it is that you're doing when you're facing this problem, then you can definitely learn the lesson so that you won't have to repeat it again. So, what is self compassion? Self compassion is the understanding of yourself, it is finding out better of why you do the things that you do. So sit down and take the time to marinate on your thoughts and your beliefs and understanding why you do the things you do instead of blaming yourself, instead of beating yourself up. I just did a video or a webinar the other day for that critical inner voice. If you have suffered from instances in your life from childhood, then you develop these false beliefs about yourself, and those false beliefs stay within you throughout your life. And as you experience other life experiences, you tend to lean on those false belief systems that you have about yourself. And because you have those as belief systems, they're embedded in you. And because they're embedded in you, you tend to continue to do them. So having self compassion is understanding yourself better and why you do the things that you do instead of blaming yourself and beating yourself up. So, in understanding yourself, you are in search of why you do things the way you do. Let me repeat that. In understanding self compassion, you have to be able to understand why you do the things the way you do them. So, what is a way? When somebody says, "Oh, they have their ways. They have their ways." What does that mean? What is that saying about that person? It's saying that that person does things a certain kind of way, or they think a certain kind of way, and they stick with it. It is their personality. It is the trait that others associate about you, or that characteristic about you that others can, when they instantly know you, when they find out about you, they know your ways. They know how you move. They know how you operate. They know how you exemplify your behavior in certain situations. That is your way. So, in having self compassion, if you focus on your ways and why you do things, you'll unfold and unveil the reason that things continue to happen in your life. And you can begin to break down that cycle of destruction. And again, those inner critical thoughts can disappear, or they can at least subdue themselves. So, how do you react to certain situations? What are you known for? When certain things happen, how do you act with those certain things? If somebody disrespects you, what is your way in that manner? What behavior do you exemplify when somebody disrespects you? Those ways are embedded in us. They are embedded in us. Why do you think that you do what you do? Why do you think you respond to certain things in a certain way? It's three reasons why. One, it's through mimicking your parents or those that you were looking at when you were growing up. So you saw how they responded to themselves or to others. So you mimic that. You are conditioned to believe subconsciously that this is the way it should be done. So from your mimicking, you begin to take on those same traits, those same personalities, that same way, because you've developed that same belief system. Number two, trial and error from life. You just doing things and learning, up that way didn't work, up this way didn't work. And you begin to develop a character that is either not pleasing to yourself or not pleasing to others. When you focus on negative things and you develop negative ways, they may suit you, but they may hurt somebody else. They may hurt somebody else, or they may suit you. So trial and error teaches you how to behave. And again, your behavior exemplifies the way you believe and the way you think things. Number three, you learn through social methods. What do I mean by social methods? You saw it as popular on Facebook. You saw everybody in your school doing it, everybody in your class, everybody in your family does it, everybody on TV does it. This is the way that it's done socially for it to be okay. And for those who are challenged with the fear of being rejected by people that they know, the perception, there's a fear of perception. You have this fear of what people perceive you as, and you definitely don't want to be perceived as somebody that is not able to cope. So you learn through social methods to cover up your pain. You learn to hide your true self. You learn to be tough. You learn to be conditioned to not tap into what's going on. And because you're not tapping into what's going on, then you cannot, definitely cannot, cannot heal from your pain. You cannot move forward. You cannot progress. You cannot break free from. So, because these things are embedded in us, that means that you have become conditioned in your mind to believe these to be true for you. Whether it is you yelling at somebody because they disrespect you, you have in your mind that that is how you're going to get this person to know not to disrespect you. But you don't have in your mind the outcome of that. If you yell at them, they might yell back, they might hit back, they might punch, anything. You don't have that mindset. And that's why coping, which is understanding why you do things and understanding the consequences of those things, it frees you up from situations such as this. Because if you know it didn't work in the past all 20 times, it's not going to work again. Unless it's a situation where you know you're being called to do something and you just know that your negative thinking is what's blocking and not anything else going on. But I'm talking about negative situations and toxic situations and not being able to cope with reality. So when you aren't able to cope with things, you become stubborn and rigid in your thoughts, in your feeling, in your acting. You are very undisciplined, hard-headed, hard-headed all the way. That way is built in you. And the question you need to ask is, are they good for you? And if they are not good for you, why do you keep them? So paying attention to your ways of doing things will help you find better coping methods. Coping requires two things: to relinquish our control over the situation we face and to sacrifice a pleasure that we may have had. Because think about it, if you lose, say you lose a relationship, that relationship may have been toxic or not good for you. Or it could be that the person you still love them had no idea and they just left you. Whatever it is that equate to this loss. This loss is going to take you back a few steps. It's going to knock you back a few steps. Because now you've lost some of those things that you need to function as a person. How do you cope with this? First of all, you look at it from a positive perspective. Don't look at it as a loss. Look at it as an opportunity to do something better. Look at it as a chance to get a better person, because clearly this person didn't love you anyway if they left you, especially if you didn't know what was going on. They didn't love you. That's not what you want to be around. And just know that the universe has separated you from that person for that very reason. It's somebody else out there that would love you better than what they were doing. And you may see it as a loss because it served a particular purpose. And know this, that anything that is for you will not be taken from you. So that wasn't for you. That season is over. But it's a sacrifice within that loss, because now you have to shift your mindset. You have to shift your schedule. You have to shift your belief systems. You have to shift things because you may not have believed in divorce, but now you have to because you see that it is real, and it is real for certain reasons for different people. So once you make that shift and you understand that that loss is a setup for something greater, then you no longer look at it as a sacrifice. But in the midst of you losing it and you understanding that, it is definitely a sacrifice, and it is definitely going to take you some internal strength to get through it. You have to want to do it. And relinquishing your control allows you to see the benefit of having God as your captain of your ship. Because when you take away the control and the outcome of what's to come from what you don't even know, then you allow the universe to manifest whatever it is that you really truly need. Because while you're separated from this person that's not good for you, they're out living their life. Okay, yeah, so what? But you're healing from the pain that they caused, and then you're going to heal from the pain that attached you to them in the first place. Because definitely know that there were signs you just didn't pay attention to, and dig deep and start digging deep and figuring out who you are and understanding things. Then that revelation that you have is you relinquishing your control and the outcome. So now you're no longer crying over them leaving, you're celebrating it. You're no longer stalking them on Facebook because you don't care anymore. You're no longer worried about what they're doing because you're focused on what you're doing. You're relinquishing that control, and that control is not good when you're in the process of loss and coping, because when you have control, then you're not coping. You're still not surrendering to the process of whatever it is that's going on. So these two things, if you can do them, or when you do them, they will weaken your resistance to submission and increase your healing and your faith. These two things, relinquishing your control of the situation and the outcome. A lot of people want to hold on to the control because they want it to turn out the way they want it to turn out. And that's what the control is based on. You have a fear of how it's going to turn out because you don't know what it is, and you know what you've done or have not done, and you're scared. That's what control is. So if you let that go and just whatever happens from what you've done in the past, let it happen. It's going to happen anyway. So why prolong it? Get it out of the way. Bad choices, let it come through you. Let the consequences come and you get through it. Understand the lesson. Don't do that again. But when you relinquish that control, meaning give it up completely and totally, and you sacrifice, you go through the sacrifice of a pleasure that you've had, then it decreases your desire to want to resist. And again, it increases your chances of healing, and it increases your faith. So there are 5 techniques that you can use to cope better. Number 1, take responsibility. Own your shit. I love telling people that. Own your shit. Own it. It is yours. Accept and admit what you did. Even if you in this, and I'll use the same example of a person leaving. It may not have been your fault that they left, but own the fact that you brought this person in your life when they showed you signs that they were not loyal to you or really didn't love you, and you stuck around. Own your part. Take responsibility for what you do. Become active in creating the change you want. So they didn't treat you right. You're single now. Take this single time to change your behavior, change your ways, to do some self-inventory, to think things through. Number 2, learn the lesson. Stop thinking at it from a standpoint of loss and look at it as a chance to grow and learn. Look at it as an opportunity to become better and start seeing the bigger picture. Start trusting God more. Start surrendering more. Number 3, create meaning. Everything we experience has meaning. Look for the meaning behind things. Use the lessons to teach you whatever it is that you needed to learn so that you can elevate to the next level. Number 4, prioritize your healing. This is very important. I should have put that first. Prioritize your healing. That is vital, vital. Everything, every nook and cranny of you getting better. So in your healing process, if somebody did leave you, and I'll stick to this example again, if somebody did leave you, figure out what it is that you feel is wrong about you. Stop pointing the finger at them, because there were times in that relationship or that marriage where they told you what they wanted and you refused to listen to it. Dig deep inside yourself and start learning from the lessons and putting meaning to it. When you put meaning to things, you take away the ownership of it, because now you know it was meant to happen, and it happened that way, but that lesson was meant to happen. And unfortunately, it happened that way, but the lesson is what you need to focus on. It happened. So create meanings behind things. So everything happens for a reason, in other words. Prioritize your healing. Pay close attention to your needs, to your needs. To your needs. Pay attention to your needs. What do you need? Pay attention to your body. Pay attention to your spirit. Pay attention to your soul. Answer your soul's call. Heal from your pain. Whatever it is that you need, give it to yourself. Stop looking for other people to give it to you. And number 5, detach from the emotional pain. Connect with a greater source. Go beyond the pain. Stop focusing on the pain. Stop focusing on the pain. So copeless is when you don't have a structured, healthy way to handle problems. You can't come up with a way to get through to whatever it is and to make it feel better. And to be copeless means that you're stuck there. You're stuck at not knowing. You're stuck at confusion. You're stuck at, whoa, why is me? Why me? Why me? You're stuck at not looking at what the benefit of everything is. You're stuck. So copeless is you being stuck in the process of learning how to solve a problem. Because making choices, whether they're good or bad, you have to make a choice. You have to make a choice, because if you don't make a choice, you will become copeless and you will be stuck and you will lose everything, every physical thing you can think of, because you're stuck at having the ability to figure things out in a healthy, productive way. So when you find healthy ways to cope, your mindset gets closer to its highest element. So when your mind gets to that closest, highest element, that is when you are looking for the greater good of yourself. That is tapping into the level of compassion that you should have for yourself. That is you trying to figure out and discover and explore what it is that you need so that you can be all that you were meant to be. So using your mind wisely, using that part of your innate ability, because we have to know that God blessed us with the ability to have a sound mind. And our sound mind comes from our free choice, the choices that we make. I just did a video talking about that. Our sound mind. We were blessed with that. We were blessed with the ability to think wise. God gave us that wisdom that we needed to instill in us, that we need to get through our problems. So when you're copeless, that means you are not tapping into your innate ability. You have given up hope. You are stuck in the unknown realm of mystery. You don't know what's going on. You haven't let go of your control. You have still thinking, you still have the thought process that if you handle things, it'll get done right. But when you say that to God, then you're telling him that even he doesn't even know the answer. You are the God and you are the one in control. And that's why you're stuck, because he will freeze everything. When you get to that place of arrogance, fear, he will stop things. He will freeze things because you're not ready for it. You don't deserve to have it yet because you haven't worked towards getting it. So when you use your wise mind after a mistake and take what was learned, start over. Let the wisdom guide you from there. Be guided by the wisdom. Find the value in your mistakes. Know that they were not meant to waste you, but neither were they meant to be wasted. So, why do you think God allowed them to happen? To teach you something. Never allow your mistake to be lost. Take full advantage of it, because God will use your poor choices to teach you the lessons that you need to know so that you won't repeat them again. Because we know Him better not to. You know God better. You know better not to. You know God better not to. So in coping, you learn a lot of things. It's definitely part of your healing. It is definitely mandatory that you learn to cope from loss, learn to cope from pain, learn to cope from whatever it is that you have gotten yourself into, or you look up and you find yourself in. If that makes you feel better, that means you ain't coping. You ain't accepting the truth. But if you can just wake up and just realize that it's okay, it will work out, and it will work itself out if you allow it to. Let go of that control, relinquish that control, sacrifice the loss of that pleasure, whatever it is. If you lose a job, yeah, it might hurt, but take advantage of that free time. What could you do that you couldn't do when you was working? What can you put your hands to use it? What activities can you do that will tell the universe that, okay, I may have lost my job, but I'm ready. I'm ready. I'm ready. I'm ready. What can you do then? Because there's a method to all madnesses that we face. Remember that. There's a method to all madnesses that we face. So because we need strategies to learn how to cope, I have definitely created a magnificent program that will get you together pretty much. So I have this 4-week strategies to strategies to coping coaching program, where I definitely give you that step-by-step tool, a breakdown. So where we have it week by week, your blueprint week by week, you get accountability assignments, you get your pop-up coaching calls, you get me talking to you, embracing everything. And then at the end, as a bonus, and this is as a bonus if you want it, we are going to tap into your inner child healing areas, your sore spots, and dig deep and do an inner child healing session. So you definitely can take advantage of that strategies to coping coaching program, because it'll definitely give you insight and clarity on those things that have been mysterious to you along the way. So in coping and knowing how to cope, it definitely empowers you to be able to move forward in a better direction. It definitely gives you the authority and the permission to be free to be you and explore new things. And coping brings out the best in you. It brings out the best in you, because when you learn from your mistakes and you figure out, nope, this does not work, you can set yourself up for getting better. So I want to thank you guys for joining me today. And if you are interested in that 4-week coaching program, go on this website that's scrolling down below, app.yottled.com/Coach Tanya. And on there, you'll find all of the programs that I have. Well, not all of them, but a few of the programs that I have. They're set up in meeting style. So what you do is you click on, you register, you pay for the course, and then we get started. So definitely know that I am available for you. Definitely know that coping is possible. Just because you've experienced a traumatic situation or just because things didn't go your way does not mean that it's the end of the world. You want to find your best self, learn how to cope. Stop being copeless. Stop being copeless. Get unstuck from that position or that season of your life. Because God is asking you to let go of your control and surrender yourself. Sacrifice. Let go of whatever it is that you're holding on to. Let it go. He wants to do so much more for you. He wants to do so much more for you, but he cannot do that if you don't let him. So what I need you to do is to go on that website, schedule your coaching session for if you want to start the program, or you can do a free 60-minute tribe strategy call where we go through and we break down information that's going to be vital to you from what you learn from this program. We're going to find out what's going on, where the sore spot is, and we're going to make it feel better. We're going to kiss those boo-boos that weren't kissed when you were a kid. We're going to kiss them now. So schedule you a free 60-minute tribe strategy call. Now, if you want to order the worksheet, because I do have a worksheet that goes with this webinar. If you want to order the worksheet and schedule a strategy and coaching call, there's a link for that as well. So you have options, and that's the whole point. You have options. You can do, after watching this webinar, you can do the free 60-minute tribe strategy call. That's where we just talk about what's going on in your life and come up with some ideas on how to make a move forward, but you'll be on your own after that. Or you can schedule to sign up for the program that goes with this webinar. You can sign up for the 4-week program that goes with this webinar. And when you do that, then you have me along as your personal cheerleader and your coach and your guide along the way. I help you along the way, so I tap in and check in with you. Or you can just order the worksheet by itself. You can even do that. If you're a self-learner and you don't need a coach or anything, you can order the worksheet by itself. There's a link for that. And then if you want to order the worksheet and put a strategy in place, you can order that too. So I definitely have options for you, because the whole point is to awaken your mind. Join my cause, join my mission, awaken a million minds. The point is to open your mind up to the truth of who you are. Step and walk into your purpose so that you can know who you are and walk in that truth. Don't you want to know who you are? Don't you want to show those that are dependent on you, that need you, who you are? Don't you want to have God's eyes gleam upon you because you're walking in your truth? Come on now, get your cope together. Get your cope together. Stop being copeless. Stop being stuck. Stop trying to control things. Surrender. Let go. Let go. So definitely thank you for joining me. If you are interested in any of the programs that I have available, you are definitely more than welcome to try or to sign up for some. The using colors to emotionally heal, the narcissistic love, learning to love yourself, the daddy you hurt my feelings. It's a bunch of them. If you want to experience an intuitive, emotional experience through a tarot reading, I have that for you as well. You can follow me on Facebook, guys. Definitely follow me on Facebook, facebook.com/Coach Tanya's Tribe. Send me a friend request. Send me a friend request. And you can also email me at CoachTanya2020@gmail.com. That's Coach Tanya 2020, and that's the year 2020, at gmail.com. At gmail.com. Coach Tanya 2020@gmail.com. So take advantage of the opportunity to learn and grow. Know that coping is what's going to open your mind to new horizons in your life. And be ready to face the challenges that are before you. Because once you can face those challenges and get through them, you can go ahead and put on your Superman cape or your Supergirl cape, because you've conquered that mission. You're a warrior in that area. You're a trooper. So go ahead and take action. Do what's best for you. Do what's best for you, because you know what's best for you. Oh, guys, and I also have a 60-minute webinar for the power of manifesting. The power of manifesting. That's a pretty good one. If you're interested in that one, definitely go on that link and sign up for that one, because that one helps you understanding with the coping as well. They kind of go hand in hand. That's a mindset one. So coping is definitely about the mindset and being able to believe in yourself and have faith in yourself. And with the power of manifestation, it's the same thing. It's knowing your truth of who you are. So it was a pleasure. Oh my God, it was definitely a pleasure to serve you today. And I am glad that you guys took the time to join me. So this is Coach Tanya, and I definitely want to say, stop being copeless, guys. Stop it. It is not for you. Find ways to cope. Go ahead and schedule your 60-minute coaching call so I can help you find ways to cope and implement that plan in action. This is Tanya K. Austin, better known as Coach Tanya, at the Trauma Recovery Room, and I'm out.